The Three Little Pigs. Down in the valley was a farm. On the farm there was a pigsty, and in the pigsty lived Mummy Pig and the three little pigs. "You are growing so fast, my dears," said Mummy Pig to the three little pigs. "Soon there'll be no space for you here. It is time for you to leave the farm and build your own houses to live in." Before leaving, Mummy Pig gave each of the three little pigs a packed lunchbox and told them something very important. So she said, "You must remember to build your house out of bricks. Bricks are very strong and they'll keep you safe no matter what." The three little pigs set off down the lane to the brickyard, leaving Mummy Pig all alone in the sty. After a short while, they came across the next door farmer plowing his field. The first little pig thought to himself, "By golly, if I build my house out of this farmer's straw, then I'll save myself a trip to the brickyard and build my house in half the time." So the first little pig said to the farmer, "I'd like a big bundle of your finest straw, kind sir. I'll use it to build my own house." The farmer, a little surprised by this request, happily obliged. He gave the first little pig 10 bales of his finest straw, and the pig built his straw house. The house looked sublime. There was not a single straw out of place, and the little pig was very proud of himself. A big bad wolf, who had been watching from afar, strolled up to the straw house, knocked at the door, and said in a low, gruff voice, little pig, let me in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," replied the little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the big bad wolf. Without delay, the wolf took a huge breath in. Then he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house in. The straw house looked wonderful, but it was extremely weak. It fell down in one instant, and the big bad wolf gobbled up the first little pig. Meanwhile, the second and third little pigs had continued to walk down the lane to the brickyard. They soon came across another farm. This was an apple farm, and the farmer was busy chopping down the branches of the apple trees. An enormous pile of sticks lay on the ground next to the farmer. The second little pig thought to herself, "By golly, I've got it. I'll make my house out of sticks. It will save my tired legs from walking further, and my house will be built faster." So the second little pig said to the farmer, "I'd like to have that enormous pile of sticks, kind sir. I will use it to build my house." The farmer, who was looking for a way to get rid of his sticks, happily obliged. He gave the second little pig all of the sticks, and the pig built her stick house. The house looked fabulous. There was not a single stick out of place, and the little pig was very proud of herself. The big bad wolf, fresh from gobbling the first little pig, strolled up to the stick house, knocked at the door, and said in a low and gruff voice, little pig, let me in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," replied the second little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the big bad wolf. Without delay, the big bad wolf took a huge breath in. Then he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house in. The stick house looked superb, but it was extremely weak. So it fell down in an instant, and the big bad wolf gobbled up the second little pig. Meanwhile, the third little pig had made it all the way to the brickyard. He went up to the man in charge of the yard and said, "Hello, kind sir. I would like a large pile of your bricks to build my house." The man, who, as it turned out, was extremely generous, happily obliged. He gave the third little pig all the bricks he wanted, and the pig built his brick house. The house not only looked tremendous, it was extremely strong. The third little pig had taken the time to build his house well, and he was extremely proud of himself. The big bad wolf, fresh from gobbling the second little pig, strolled up to the brick house, knocked at the door, and said in a low and gruff voice, little pig, let me come in." "Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin," replied the third little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the big bad wolf. Without delay, the big bad wolf took a huge breath in. Then he huffed and he puffed and he huffed and he puffed, but the brick house was much too strong and well built to be blown down. This made the big bad wolf wild with rage, so he devised a nasty plot to fool the third little pig into coming out of his brick house. Tap, tap, tap came from the window. "Little Pig, I know a farmer with some marvelous turnips. You love turnips, don't you, Little Pig? Shall we go there tomorrow and get some?" said the big bad wolf. "Very well," said the little pig. "I do love turnips. What time do you want to go?" 7 o'clock sharp," said the wolf, "and don't be late." The third little pig may have been little, but he wasn't stupid. He was, after all, the little pig that made his house from bricks, as his mother had wisely proposed. So the little pig got up early, filled a sack full of turnips, and was back in the house long before 7 o'clock. When the wolf arrived, he said, "Little Pig, are you ready to go?" "Silly wolf," said the little pig, "I've been. My turnips are already bubbling away in a huge pot for my dinner." The wolf was incensed. He was so angry he felt sure he could have exploded, but he suddenly had a thought and pulled himself together. "Little Pig," he said, "I know a place where there is a wonderful apple tree. You love apples, don't you, Little Pig?" "Oh, yes, I do," said the pig. "Where is this wonderful tree you speak of?" "Just over the hill," said the wolf. "I'll be back here at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and we can go together to get the apples. So you had better not deceive me this time, Little Pig." The little pig woke at 5 the following morning and went over the hill to the big apple tree. He had hoped to help himself before the wolf arrived, but the wolf was too clever for that. The little pig saw the wolf approaching, which, as you can imagine, terrified him greatly, and quickly climbed the tree. "Hello, wolf," said the little pig from up the tree. "Wait there while I find the biggest, plumpest, juiciest apple for you." The wolf waited. The little pig picked a big, juicy apple, then called down, "I'll throw it to you, wolf. Here it comes." The pig then threw the apple as far away as he could. And while the wolf was away collecting the apple, which took a long time, the little pig jumped down from the tree and ran safely home to his brick house. By now, the wolf had had enough. He followed the little pig home and called through the window, Little Pig, I'm going to eat you up. I will climb on top of your house, come down the chimney, and gobble you up in a single bite." Hearing this, the little pig quickly made a roaring fire and placed upon it a large pot full of water. As the wolf came down the chimney, the little pig lifted the lid of the pot. The wolf fell in with a plop head first, and the little pig replaced the lid quick as a flash. The little pig then boiled the wolf, gobbled him up for supper, and lived happily ever after. The end.